Hello, you are listening to the Mets in the UK podcast, your home for Mets content in the UK. You can catch us every week on a Tuesday on Spotify, YouTube, and all good podcast hosts. You can also find us on all the socials, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, and X at Mets in the UK, using the hashtag to get involved, MITUK. As is always the case, I'm joined by the lovely Tracey. How are you doing this evening, Tracey?
I'm good, my dear. How are you?
I am good. I am very giddy. As I was saying before the show, I've booked my trip to New York. I'm very, very excited. I'm trying to keep it calm throughout the pod.
Contain it.
I will try. I will try. I am also joined this evening by Toria. How are you doing, Tor?
All good, thank you.
Fantastic. And we're joined by Joe with a very, very fantastic hat. How are you doing, Joe?
I have a new hat. I have a new spring training hat.
I think we're going to start off with, we'll answer the question first. So we put out the tweet, as we always do, any questions for the pod. Stuart replied straight away, did Pidgeos order her spring training cap?
Yes, I did.
Joe's modelling the spring training cap. She's managed to get
today.
And it's looking lovely.
It's good, isn't it?
I'm in.
Yep. I'm so happy.
Very nice. If you're not watching the video version, why not? Get on the video version. It's much more fun.
I'll post a picture of myself online too, on the socials. Looking happy in my hat.
You do that.
Okay, so catching up on all things Mets and spring training. Last week, those of you that caught the show, shout out to the regular listeners, as always. We were kind of in the middle of a game going on. Last week, the Mets were playing the Astros. Astros ended up winning that one 8-5. We saw Acuna, Winker, Swaggerty, Beatty, and Siri with the runs. A solid inning all around from the Mets. Looking pretty decent in that game despite the loss. They then went on to play the Marlins, lost 4-1 to the Marlins. Alonso with the single run. Good inning for Blackburn on his return. The game was hand-drawn by the Mets admin on Twitter, which was highly amusing because it wasn't being broadcast. Some fantastic drawings there, so shout out to the Mets admin on Twitter. Next game, the Mets beat the Astros 5-0. Clifford, Beatty with 2 RBIs each. Reitz with the 5th. Another good outing from Clay Holmes and Max Kranick in that one. The Mets then went on to play the Nationals, winning that game 7-0. 2-run home run from Soto. RBIs for Azakar, Vientos, Taylor, and Terens, who got a double. Sproat was impressive over 2 in that game. The Mets then went on to play the Rays, winning that one 10-1. Tidwell had an immaculate inning. Those of you that don't know what an immaculate inning is, that's 9 pitches, all strikeouts, all strikes on those pitches. So well done to him. So much so, he even got a tweet from the official MLB account. So well done, Blake. Siri hit a 3-run home run, absolutely red hot in spring training at the moment. Azakar got 2-run single. Acuna left the game after taking a pitch to the elbow, although we believe that he is fine off the back of that. Mets played the Red Sox next, lost the game 6-4. Siri with another 3-run homer. This one went over the monster at the Red Sox spring training ground, which is quite impressive. Blackburn struggled in this particular game. Not a good outing from him. And then finally, yesterday's game, the Mets drew 1-1 with the Marlins. We saw 2 innings pitched from Senga, who got 2 hits and 2 strikes in that one. Peterson pitched 3 innings off the back of Senga, 1 hit, 5 Ks for him. Wouldn't be a Mets pod without a game going on right now whilst we're recording. We are playing the Cardinals. Tracey, what's the score?
Mets 1, Cardinals 5 in the bottom of the 8th, and Acuna is in the game.
Ooh.
Fantastic. So quite a lot of games, quite a lot of spring training, quite a lot of runs. What are your thoughts? Start with you, Tor.
Of course you would. I really enjoyed it. There's been a few things to keep an eye out. Tidwell's immaculate inning was impressive. He didn't even realize, which is crazy. Bless him. It was so cute. Kranich, if you recall last spring, he's one I called out as being quite impressed with last spring. And then he got injured. He did come back in and was in the bullpen a little bit. So I'm really pleased to see him back amongst it and doing well. Sproat, we expect to do well. Wouldn't be surprised to see him make an appearance at some point later in the year. Siri has been quite the Jose S. We'll do we discussed this before. We've decided that we need to do a severance and refer to him as Jose S because our phones keep going. He has been quite the package. Blackburn, his other outing, yes, he came in, sat down, came back in again. I mean, it was quite amusing if you're online, everyone doing final lines for him when he came out of the game after the like, come on, he's going to come back. Don't be silly. It's spring training. It happens. So I don't think there's anything to be worried about there. Last night, I told anyone who would listen all day that I just wanted to see Senga pitch, and that was all I was bothered about. That was these guys nodding away because I was telling them all day, Gordon, I need sleep. I'm going to sleep, and of course I watched the whole game. But we got 2 innings out of Senga, which we weren't expecting, and B, after his outing was impressive enough, Peterson was just outstanding. That was the biggest thing for me last night. It was great to see Senga. Senga was trying out a new pitch as well, which was quite interesting. But Peterson's outing last night was really, really impressive. So that was really encouraging.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good to see Senga back. He looked like he was back to his best, not the version of him we saw last year. And as you say, Peterson was electric, which is great, especially with all the changes that have been going on with the bullpen injuries and whatnot. Joe, have you managed to catch any of the games? What are your thoughts?
I've dipped in and out of them a bit actually, so I've seen quite as much as Tor, but no surprise there. A few things I'm quite interested in. The guy that sets the phones off, whose name we can't say. One of the first games I tuned into, they were chatting away about, his hitting's been a bit disappointing recently, but he's been on fire, hasn't he, with these 3-run home runs? So hopefully he'll carry that into the season because we could do with that coming from some of the other players. I was thinking about Torrens. He's doing well, isn't he? And I'm wondering if he's going to get more of a chance to play a few more games if he carries on this year, which, probably deserve it on current form, wouldn't he, in spring? And then, like Tor said, in terms of Peterson, it looks like he's reached stud level, activated. He'll carry on and we'll get another good season out of him because he was getting there, wasn't he? And we're like, can he maintain it? But hopefully the signs are looking good. So yeah, all good stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's worth pointing out as well, Siri's likely to get some reps at centre field. So him and Tyrone Taylor, I think, are likely to... So I'm doing it on purpose now. I can't help it. Likely to be sharing that time in centre field with Tyrone Taylor. That's definitely going to be sort of platooned as the season goes on. I think you're right with Torrens. It'll be interesting to see where he fits in, whether it's part DH, part catcher.
DH is a good shot, though. It's probably worth a shot at that, isn't it? Because he's doing all right.
Yeah, he's done DH during spring, so it was quite an interesting one the other day.
Definitely one to keep an eye on. I think that the main takeaway from all of this, other than the fact you can't judge spring training form, everyone knows that. It's a case of we've got options, we've got depth, we've got choice, and
it's a good problem to have.
It's a great problem to have. What are your thoughts, Trace?
It's been great to actually see baseball on the regular when it's broadcast. Unlike today, ESPN sort it out. For those that don't know, if you're not in the US and have an ESPN subscription, you can't watch today's game in the UK.
ESPN games have always been on MLB TV before.
Yeah,
so it's a bit of an odd one.
You've got to wonder if it's because of their little spat that they've got going on.
So I'm hoping that it gets resolved for the regular season because otherwise we are going to miss an awful lot of baseball. Although I'm hoping, because quite often if it's ESPN, it's on TNT. So
yeah,
we might at least catch it.
Yeah. Senga, it was lovely to see him yesterday. He looked on form, and he said afterwards in a post-game interview that he felt healthy and that it just felt like his pitches were working, he was delivering. And it's just been nice to see the guys have fun and enjoy spring training. It seems to be like a really good atmosphere in the dugout, and that's what spring training's about, is developing those relationships as much as everything else.
Yeah, I think it's been great to see the vibes going on. There was a picture that was going around last night on socials of a lot of the players sort of grouped together on the bench, which was rather, I can't remember who it was on Twitter, but someone had very humorously captioned it about Aaron Judge and changing a phone number. It was a very amusing tweet that seemed to rub the Yankee fans up the wrong way.
Shame.
Did you see it? I'm assuming you did. Yes. Okay. If we're going to be talking about that side of things, Trace, do you want to go with what you were talking about just before the show?
Yeah, I heard a soundbite from the ESPN broadcast that we can't watch, saying that should players like Iglesias be brought back for chemistry over performance? Because Agado Afonso was saying that it's a big loss not having a player like Iglesias that brings the vibes, and he doesn't know where it's going to come from this year. And I'm interested to hear your thoughts.
Joe?
Yeah, I was thinking about that, but I think that's a bit of a lazy comment. So I don't think you can force it or manufacture it and bring someone back and it's going to be exactly the same as last year. These things just happen naturally, don't they? So yeah, bit of rubbish.
Toria?
Yeah, I think, we touched on it last week when we said how much of the team from last year is still there. I don't think it's undeniable what a vibe Iglesias brought last year. We can't take that away from him. But I think part of it is that we're still riding that success breeds success, right? We're riding that wave from last year already. We have upgraded the team. They have that vibe. You can see that it's there. And actually, it seems to me, from what people are saying as well, that Jose S is bringing that kind of vibe as well. I mean, I bookmarked a tweet the other day that I absolutely loved, and I was immediately like, he's a guy, because he had this t-shirt on saying, "You can't please everyone, you're not pizza." And for me, immediately I'm like, I love you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just brilliant. And that, but from not just that, but from what other people have saying, it seems like he's quite the character. But I think we've got plenty of character and plenty of vibe in that clubhouse. I don't think, like you said, Joe, you can't manufacture chemistry. And
I think we've got quite good at the Mets have got good at bringing in the right kind of characters anyway now.
That is exactly that. That's what they're looking at before anything else. They're making sure that people that they bring in are going to suit the group, and provide competition as well. And we can get onto that afterwards. I think there's a couple of spots that are still quite competitive at the moment, and that's a great thing. It's been a while since we've had true competition throughout the squad. So I'm not the least bit concerned, and I would rather be winning than be vibing. Both combined, like we had last year, as far as we went. Happy days.
What about you, Tracy? What's your thoughts?
I think we've got the vibes this season. There's been lots of stuff on the socials, and they just seem so relaxed around each other. They're happy to have a laugh, have a giggle with, like, in amongst themselves and with the media. And yeah, Iglesias was amazing for the Mets, and he brought the vibe when we needed it most. But I think we've got a different vibe this year, and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, I'm just going to piggyback on that, and I kind of liken it to the Grimace thing. Would we, if let's say we'd signed Iglesias, hypothetically, would you want them to rehash the Grimace thing to keep that going, because that was the vibe from last year? I don't think you can do it. It's got to be organic, and you can't just keep flogging that same horse. Like, not the fact that Grimace got stale, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't keep just going back to it because, it worked last year. let's do something different. Let's see what happens, and who knows where it's going to go. Who knows where it's going to go? We'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Please leave a comment either on our socials, on YouTube, wherever you are accessing the pod. What do you think? Should they have brought him back for the vibes? Are we going to be okay without Iglesias? Leave a comment and let us know your thoughts. We'd love to hear from you.
I've got a thought, actually, quick, just to jump in quickly.
Oh.
You talk about bringing back Grimace, but there could be like someone from the UK going there on opening day that could create a whole new thing. Like, we'll send Tracey with an outfit or something, and that could be the start of it. Maybe that's another comment. What should we send Tracey to opening day in? Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, leave your comments on that as well. What should we send Tracey to on opening day? Two questions, why not? Let's see.
Sorry.
She'll be there with the flag. Look for the flag and you'll find our Tracey. Moving swiftly on, because I can see this is embarrassing her. Let's catch up with the Mets news from the last week. Starling Marte is still day-to-day with right knee problems. We've seen him, we've heard him on commentary. He's been doing his little bit here and there around the team, still not quite there with his knee. I think obviously we all wish that he would be playing. He's still got a lot that he can offer the team. And hopefully this is not a limited Starling Marte year. This is final year with the Mets. His contract does run out at the end of the year, but where will that go this year? We'll see. The Mets are rumored to be opening a store in Union Square from the teasers that have been on social media. I guess we'll find out more from that. The date was the 7th, so we'll find out more on the 7th. What's going on there?
More places to tempt us when we go.
Yeah.
Oh, bad times.
I know. Such a shame.
In other news, the Mets have signed Jose Arena to a minor league deal. Arena is a right-hand pitch reliever, had a 3.8 ERA over 109 innings for the Rangers last year. He made 9 starts and 24 relief appearances. Can't help but feel that with this being a minor league deal, this is patchwork for Minaya and Montas whilst they're injured. It's another person you can sort of combine into a hybrid role if we need him.
That cracked me up after we'd said last week, oh no, we don't need to do anything. And then of course they went out.
Of course it happens.
It's the curse of the pod. It happens every week.
Of course you did. Thanks, guys.
Yep. Mike Puma is reporting the Mets are taking it slow with Ronnie Mauricio after a difficult year, and they used the word difficult in quotes on this. Obviously, Mauricio out with a very severe knee injury last year, so it's good to hear that they are taking it slow with him. We don't want to rush him back. Be interesting to see how it's affected his development when he is back playing. Obviously, we'd love to see that sometime soon. News just away from the Mets, Billy Epler, our former GM, is now joined up with the Brewers. How's that for a trade? They get Billy Epler, we get David Stearns.
I think we got the better part of that deal.
Yeah. Epler's role is rumored to be an advisory role on scouting and general management. I found the scouting bit particularly humorous given some of the signings that he made whilst he was with the Mets, but I will leave it there rather than throw shade in their direction. Speaking of the Brewers, Jose Quintana has signed a 1-year deal with the Brewers, $4 million deal for him. Wish him the very best, but at the same time, that puts the rumors to bed that we were talking about last week about do we bring him in? And then finally, we saw yesterday the Mets have now announced their ballpark incentives. So if you are thinking about heading over to Citi Field this year, here's some things that might just tempt you that little bit more. The Mets have announced Family Sundays, where you can get 4 tickets for $50. Ticket involves pre-game entertainment. This is every Sunday except holidays, which I believe is the 4th of July weekend and Memorial Day weekend. Those are the only 2 that are affected by that ticket. But if you're taking 4 of you over, why not get a Family Sunday ticket? There are also $5 Tuesdays where food and drink offers are on every Tuesday home game. It's your usual kind of stuff: light beer, water, pretzels, Nathan's hot dogs, popcorn, classic baseball snacks. None of this fancy stuff. Back
God,
to
I'm
the
hungry
basics
already.
for $5.
Nice.
Who can go wrong there? They've also announced there is a block party on Saturdays, pre-game entertainment with a DJ. There's some special food trucks, and it does say Mookie Wilson is going to be at most of the block parties. So
Oh, mate, Mookie.
there you go.
Mookie.
Joe's there for a Saturday block party. And then there are fireworks every Friday home game from the 23rd of May through to the end of August. So plenty of reasons to get to the ballpark other than to watch our Amazins play. Lots of news, lots of stuff going on there. Tracey, any thoughts?
The block parties are great. There's always lots to do. There's sometimes a small cost involved, but you'll have alum walking round, you'll have Mr. and Mrs. Met walking round, and it just gives you something to do rather than stood in a line waiting to go into the ballpark.
Yeah, definitely. Some of the lines will be much bigger this year. The Mets giveaways for this year are looking fantastic. Plenty of bobbleheads, if that's your thing. Get yourself over Citi Field for that.
I think
Toria
there's
likes a bubble.
10 or
Toria
11
look
this
good.
year.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
quite a few. Toria's got a few behind her,
She's
for
got
those of
those.
you watching on YouTube or Spotify. What are your thoughts on all the news, Tor?
I like it. Anything that's going to enhance the experience, I think, is great. The block parties that they've done to date have been fun. It doesn't take too much of your time either. You can walk up and down the stuff that's there. You can hang out there for longer, but you can also kind of take it all in and be part of the vibe without it taking too much of your day as well, if you like. It's a great place to kind of meet people as well if you're meeting as a group or whatever. So I think that's great. I think we were talking recently about doing food and drink promotion, so it's great to see that they're doing that. Getting more families to the games, making that more affordable. We talked about that as well. So yeah, it's big ticks all around. I think it's really positive stuff. So very, very happy. And any bobbleheads that I can get to add to my collection, I will be very happy. Obviously, I loves me a bobblehead.
Yeah, if anyone's listening and wants to send one over, send them Toria's way. She loves a good bobblehead.
I've got a whole office to fill.
There we go.
Bobbleheads everywhere.
How about you, Joe?
I think one of the games I'm going to is on a Tuesday, so I'll test out the $5 food and drink. So am I getting beer for $5?
Yeah.
It
I
does
think
say
it's
that it's Coors Light.
Coors Light.
Oh, that's fine. That'll save me like $10 though, won't it? On the usual $15.
The thing is, I was going to say, you'll just have 3 of the Coors Light to one.
Anything, and a hot dog and a beer, I'm fine. That's me done. But then how am I going to get to Shake Shack first? I'll have to plan it, but it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Jojo and I Shake Shack.
Love Shake Shack.
You could go to the one in the city and go to the new Met store while you're
Oh
there.
yes.
There we go.
Yeah, that's my day sorted.
What a way to spend a day in the city.
Yes.
Bit of culture.
Speaking of hot dogs, what's your go-to topping on the hot dogs?
Oh, just keep it tradish this end. A bit of mustard, bit of chop.
Ooh, okay.
Is that all right? That's all right, isn't it?
All right. Yes.
Is that the right answer? Oh.
Trace?
Just mustard for me.
Just mustard for you.
Yeah.
Tor?
I have to risk being thrown out because I put tomato ketchup on mine with onion.
Oh.
And it's apparently it's not the done thing, but I don't care. I like my
We
tomatoes.
ask all the big questions on this pod, though, don't we? We get
We do,
right
do.
to the
Absolutely. Just so you know, if you're going over, yeah. I mean, if you're putting tomato ketchup on your hot dog, then just be prepared for the glares.
I'm doing both, so I wasn't getting too much stick. Bit both.
I'm just not a massive mustard girl. I can't help it.
HP sauce. We take some HP sauce over.
I'll do.
Oh.
Tom, what's your topping of choice?
Yeah, I'm saying classic mustard. You can't go wrong with it. Not that ketchup, no.
Yeah, a bit of ketchup too. Yeah, a bit of ketchup.
No, I'm not 5.
No, I'm fine.
Say.
This is the most controversial thing we've ever said.
I know.
What? I mean, yeah. Another one for our listeners to chime in on. Would you dare have ketchup on your hot dog?
Yeah.
Fair.
On that note, Tracey, what's the score? I believe the game's finished now.
Wait, it says mid-9 on the app, but it is New York Mets 1 and St. Louis Cardinals 6.
Oh, it's only spring.
It's only spring training, of course. It's just practice. No need to panic
Yes.
just yet. Okay, so on that note, we will be back next week with more updates from spring training, more news from the amazing Mets. As is always the case, please like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Don't forget to answer our big questions. Should we bring Iglesias back? Does mustard or ketchup belong on a hot dog? And what's the third one? Because I can't remember.
Just pretend you don't remember.
I don't know, but if you listen, you'll be able to find out.
Should we send Tracey to opening day in?
Yes. What should we send Tracey to opening day in? That's the third question. There we go. So 3 questions for you to answer in the comments. We will be back at the same time next Tuesday. Thank you ever so much, Tracey, Joe, and Toria, for joining this evening. And all that leaves us to say is, let's go.
Go Mets.